Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Ang, a student counselor at APG, and this is Zach, a registered migration agent. And today we will talk about how we can change from tourist visa to student visa. And Zach will be helping us to provide information regarding this.
Good afternoon. This is Zach. Okay, so let's start. Once again, good afternoon. Thanks for having us. If you can see the screen, we have a disclaimer here before we move forward. Anything we mentioned here is for general information purpose. It's not tailored individual advice, especially when it comes to student visa. I do recommend you to find professional assistance because everyone's background is different, and any teeny difference can lead to a very different result. So do contact us or some other agency, if you will, and find professional assistance or advice before you commit to a student visa or some course of study. That's crucially important. Once again, today I will discuss what a student visa is in Australia and how to convert a visitor visa to student visa, and among other things. But remember, this is not a tailored or customized advice to you, and it's very important for you to get your own advice. And by the way, our consultation for student visa is for free right now. And also, if you have any, just one more point here, if you have any compliance or if you issue or you don't understand your condition in your student visa, please reach out to us and we will explain to you what you can do, what you cannot do with the student visa, absolutely for free. We want to help you have a very smooth experience. Okay, so my name is Zach. I'm a migration agent working in this industry for quite a long years, 8 years. And we are Asia Pacific Group. We have a few offices, and you are free to contact us. We will show us the contact details on the last page. So the first thing about the student visa is that you need to know something about assessment level of a country and education provider. So when they assess your case, they don't look at your name first. The first thing they look at is your country of passport or country of nationality, and also the school you are choosing. They have a matrix, and each country and each education provider are divided with 1, 2, or 3 risk level. Risk level 1 being the highest, the best. The risk level 3 being the most difficult one. And if you have a different profile, the document requirement will be different. For example, if you are on high risk country and you also choose a high risk school, they may ask for additional documents. For example, your English, evidence of your English, evidence of your financial support, or evidence of your resume, work history, and so on and so forth. So it's very important that you choose a school that is reasonable for your risk level. Next page, please. And this is once again, this is a general advice, but this is a general checklist for all the student visas. And obviously, we want your passport. We want your confirmation of enrollment. The student visa clients need to provide a health insurance as a student visa health cover. You need to provide a statement, give information about your study. What's your plan for the study? What you intend to gain in this study, and after the study, what's your plan after the study? So this is actually the most important part of the application. And also we need relationship proof. So if you are in a relationship, if you have kids, you need to provide evidence of this. And you also need to provide employment history. They want to know if you were employed, and also they want to know if the employment is in line with your proposed study. And of course, they want to know your previous qualifications, where you're from, what did you study. For example, if you studied IT and you come here to become a chef, you will have a lot of explanation to do why you want to give up the years and the money you spend in the IT study and become a chef. Sometimes you will need to provide an English test result and financial evidence. So if you have financially prepared for the study. Next page, please. This is the English language requirement. Generally, they ask for the study to provide English test of 5.5 bands overall in IELTS test or PTE equivalent. You have to take the academic module because you are proposing a period of study. That's why you need an academic module instead of general module. The second thing is exceptions are available. With some circumstances, you can ask for a waiver for English requirement. For example, if you have a UK passport, they will say, okay, based on your country of passport, you don't need to provide an English test result. Or if you have recently completed a study in Australia of a certificate 4 level or above in the last 2 years, based on your study history, they will waive the English requirement. But once again, you need to come to us and we can discuss the English requirement level. I see a question here, just 1 second. Level 1 does not need English provide IELTS, for example, Vietnam. Yes, correct, that's correct. So usually if we provide a school risk level of level 1 with a school provider and the country, English requirement is not, English test result is not required. You will have to declare your level of English in the form. So for example, you have to say that did you recently take English test? If yes, what's the result? But it's not required to provide a English certificate in the evidence. Yes, and with a lot of students who has already commenced the study, you may find other way to waive the English requirement. What if I don't have any English tests? As I said, if you are from a level 1 country, and if you are enrolling into a level 1 education provider, you are not required to provide English. Even you say I never provide English, the case officer will usually be fine. Just to be clear, case officer does have the power to request the English test, but usually they don't. They don't use that power. Only the placement test with the school. Yes, if it's a level 1 country or if it's a level 1 program education provider, you'll be fine. They will accept that your English test as it is. Sorry, the VET test, placement test as it is, and in the application, it will be fine. Don't worry too much about English test. It's only for level 3 times level 2. So if you are from a level 3 country and you are choosing a level 2 education provider, or the other way, if you are from a level 2 country and you are choosing a level 3 education provider, that's where you might be required to have English. And once again, we have a few ways to bypass this requirement, even if it's required. For example, a previous study maybe replacing the English requirement. Let's have the next page, please.
So just want to add several things that
yes.
If you want to improve the English skills, we do offer a 1 week free PTE online with Connect PTE. So yeah, you can continue. That's
a good point. It's for the student visa stage, we are not requiring a crazy level of English requirement, even if it's required. With a quick preparation and some practice, most people can achieve the English level. Or if you are near that level but still not yet, we can negotiate a duration of English program, like a English course, early course, to bridge you before the actual study. So it's not the most difficult thing in the student visa application. And he has a very good point. If you need to prepare English test, it's not I know it's daunting, it's annoying, but it's not that difficult to most of the candidates. If you have some reasonable English study in your high school or middle school, it can be achieved. Next thing is financial evidence. Once again, this is on the same level as your English test. So only if you are from a high risk country and or if you studied in a high risk education provider, you need to provide evidence of 12-month living cost. And here's a calculation. You need to provide student visas. The main applicant, so that's $21,000 living cost. If you have a partner who's included in the visa, that's $7,300. If you have child or children, that's $3,150 per person. And you have to add travel cost and school cost. Travel cost, we usually count $1,000 per trip. For example, if you are applying from overseas, we have to calculate 2 tickets, that's $2,000. If you are applying and you are already in Australia, you just calculate $1,000 for a departing ticket. Also, you need to calculate the tuition fee. Just a quick reminder, we are not only talking about the tuition fee of the main applicant, we are also, you need to also include the tuition fee for the child or children you want to include in the student visa. For example, if you are main applicant and your tuition fee for the next 12 months is $10,000, you need to add that. And or if you have a child of 7 years and he needs to be enrolled in a school, you also need to include that part of the tuition fee. Once again, if you're not sure, contact us and we can ask for your background and calculate for you. This part and this financial evidence is usually provided by a form of bank statement. If it's in foreign currency, you need to also consider the exchange rate of the date of lodgement. And if it's not from your parents, usually you can also provide it from your spouse. If it's for example your uncle, your aunt, or some other relatives, you need to provide a reason why, for example, your uncle is willing and able to provide this financial evidence. So more details is going to be required. Yeah, next page, please. This is the most important part of the whole application. You need to address the GTE or genuine temporary entrant requirement. Basically, you are going to provide evidence that you want to come to Australia as a genuine student, and you want to study your proposed course, and this course is beneficial to you. Last thing is after the study, you need to have a good plan to departing Australia, and you need to have a career objective to persuade the case officer. So usually we address these following items: previous qualifications, gap in studies, current or past employment, any relevant related employment you currently have to your current course, family ties to your home country, ties to us in Australia. By the way, this one sometimes may be considered as adverse to you. I will explain, and further perspective in your home country. So as I mentioned, this criteria is your opportunity to address why you have a stronger tie to your home country and you have a weak tie to Australia. So you are less likely to overstay your visa or stay in Australia unreasonably without a permission. So if you have a very big family or a relative group in Australia, sometimes it can be considered as against you, because if you have a big family, you may want to join them, and you may want to seek ways to stay in Australia. But this is not the main factor. I'm not saying if you have a big family, your student visa will be refused. But all I'm saying is, based on my experience, maybe not overplay this card. Like, I have an uncle in Australia, he wants me to study here. That will be fine. But if you keep saying things like, I want to join my uncle's family, department may have a different view, and it may be bad for your application. Sorry, I have a question here. Just let me see. Let me read the question. 1 second. Sorry, where is it? How many words should the GTE state should be in the GTE statement? There is no requirement, and That's a good question, but with my experience, I have seen very short GTEs, and I have seen GTEs as 20 pages or sometimes even longer. The point is that you have to address these concerns, and with a good case or with a case of better profile, maybe you just address 1 or 2 points. Half a page might be good, but if you have a difficult case, for example, as I mentioned before, if you came from IT background and you want to study commercial cookery, you probably have to show them that you have researched the two occupations and why commercial cookery is better than IT for you, and what kind of salary you are expecting, and how easy to find a job. You need to lay out these points to persuade a case officer. The GTE will be longer than the one I mentioned previously. Another example can be if you finish the bachelor degree in hospitality, you want to come to Australia study master degree, I would say half a page will be fine, because you are continuing your study and you are focused on this. It's kind of looks very reasonable. If you are able to provide a funding requirement and among other things, I don't think you need to ramble down like 10 pages in your GTE. But we will be able to help you, and this is the main things you want us to help you. That you want us to look at the GTE and see if it's enough, or what else we can do for this GTE. 3-month study only, no further stay, family sponsored visitor visa. Okay, that's not a question, but I assume you want to ask if you have a family sponsored visa with no further stay, what can you do? If that's the case, you are not able to apply for a student visa inside Australia unless you can provide a waiver of grounds for that no further stay condition. After the pandemic lockdown, it's extremely difficult to get a no further stay waiver. I don't recommend it, but there are things you can do. For example, you can depart Australia, apply for a new visitor visa without a family sponsored stream, and come back for a student visa application. Or you can just do the research, take some photos in the school and have a chat with the school admission officer, select your school and depart Australia, apply from overseas. Both ways have its benefits and its risks or concerns. It's way more complicated than a webinar. So I do encourage you to come to us and let's have a face-to-face consultation. I can tell you what to do and what are the risks for the options. But just to answer your question, there are 2 things we usually do. One is depart Australia, get a new visitor visa, come back and apply for the visa, or do your research, select your school, provide some evidence that you have done a very deep research and have selected your school and the course, depart Australia, apply from overseas. Both are fine. My age is 52 years. That's a separate issue. I highly encourage you to come to us and have a consultation. Age is a factor. They don't have an age limit for student visa, but age is a very important factor. But because department will ask you, with your age, what do you expect for this study to in return? You have to spend 2 years' time, thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. And what do you want in return for this course? Usually it's going to be a difficult question because they see Austrian study as an investment. You have to spend money, you have to spend time, you have to spend separation from your family, and they want to know what's in it for you, not just I want to spend some time in Australia. That's not enough. So I recommend you to have a face-to-face consultation with us, and we can discuss your case and see what we can do. Okay. And next, genuine temporary entrant. Yeah, this is that was the most important thing in the whole application. The whole student visa application is oriented around genuine temporary entrant criteria. Yeah, and next thing is visitor visa to student visa. Why do we have this pathway? As I said, the whole thing is around genuine temporary entrant, and if you are already in Australia, they will be very relaxed to when assessing your intention to settle in Australia, because you are already here. If you have a bad intention, you probably will not apply for student visa. You will just do whatever you want. So if you are in Australia and the fact that you still make the effort to apply for a student visa is very good on your side. So if you are already in Australia on a visitor visa, providing that you don't have a no further stay condition, you are already in a very, very good position for the student visa grant. And also, you can when you are in Australia, there are two more reasons. When you are in Australia, you can go to the institute and you can have a hands-on look, a visit, and research of the institute. And in the GTE statement, you can easily say, I have visited these places. I have a very good in-person understanding of the weather, the culture, the living cost, the expenses, and job opportunity in Australia. So I have a very good understanding. The case officers want you to show this kind of research before lodging the application. So it's much easier for you to make these kind of statements in the student visa application.
Sorry, maybe he's disconnected. Hi, Zach.
Very sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I just came back. Yes, so as I was saying, that's the reason one, you can do your research and you can make a much better statement with your research, and it's much easier to persuade the case officer. The last reason, and it's actually a quite important reason, is that if you apply a student visa from within Australia, you get the review rights. The department, if they choose to refuse your application, you will have the chance to file an appeal in the tribunal. And tribunal is independent from the Home Affairs Department. They will assign a member of the tribunal and review your case, make a fresh decision. And if they decide, okay, the department's decision is not fair, they will overturn the decision and grant you the visa, or at least overturn the decision, send it back to the case officer for a new decision. So this is very important because the department will be able to be supervised, and when they make the decision, they will understand clearly that this decision may not be final. If I make a refusal decision and the applicant is not happy, he or she can appeal the decision. And chances are, if it's not a fair decision, chances are I may lose the appeal. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look good to me. So when they make a decision, they cannot just make a decision at their will. They will seriously consider why they want to make this decision. And also, if they make a decision to grant you the visa, there won't be any appeal. No, that's the end of the story. If they decide to refuse the application, they may hear from you in the next year or so. So that's let's just say onshore application. They have some level of supervision. So the case officer is much likely to grant application. It's just a reality. With the same profile, an application is more likely to be granted if you are applying from Australia. But in the application, as I mentioned before, you still have to address those things. One is 8503. Some of the visitor visas, especially the family-sponsored visas, they sometimes have 8503, especially family-sponsored visa. Family-sponsored visitor visa always has 8503 condition. It's mandatory. There's no way for you to get a family-sponsored visa without 8503. I'll tell you what to do after this, but and the second thing you have to consider is stay period for visitor visa in Australia. If you come here, for example, in your visitor visa application, you will have to provide a reason why you want to visit Australia. If you just say, well, I want to visit my family or my relative, or I just want to have a sightseeing, that's fine. You had a new understanding of Australia, and suddenly you decide, okay, study here is a good idea, and you made a plan to your career. That's fine. But if you, let's say, if you made an application, say I want to attend my brother's birthday in Australia, and then it's a very particular event. And during this event, if you decide, okay, during this short stay, I decided to stay in Australia and study, this will be much more difficult to persuade the case officer. So we have to consider the reason that you applied for a visa, how long did you intend to stay in Australia, and what's the purpose of the study? Again, we need to discuss your case in depth. And previous qualifications, gap employment. This is similar to the GTE statement. Basically, we need to know what's your previous background, both employment and qualification, and what if you had any gap in your study. For example, if you studied 5 years ago, didn't do much, and come to Australia, suddenly decide to study, department will find it very difficult to believe that you are a serious and genuine student. When it comes to 853 on visitor visa, most of the 8503 come with family sponsored stream. What you can do is you can go outside Australia, apply for a visitor visa, just declare that I want to visit my family or a relative, but not asking the relative to offer sponsorship. They can still offer an invitation letter, say, I want you to come to Australia and have us a visit, but don't choose the sponsorship option. In that way, you still have benefit of is establishing why you want to come to Australia with a family tie, but you are not going to get a mandatory 8503. Especially with your previous visa history, it's very common that the next visit will be smooth and the department will grant you a visa without 8503. It has been done quite a few times. So that's the recommendation for the applicants who has this condition. Next page, please.
So we have another question from Tonya.
Oh, sorry, I missed the question. Yes, let me have a look.
What are the chances of 30 years old or older to do an English course or VET course? Chance for 600 to 500.
So 30 years old or above study English only. Chances are good if you can find a reason why you need an English course. I recently processed the one, the client is doing some international business, and there are some requirements that he always had to deal with the overseas clients. So the company decided, okay, you need to improve your English and have some understanding of the Western culture. So that's why they sent him here for a study, and he's already in his 30s. And the department had no problem because this is a case that they can understand. The guy is working in the international trade, and he always talks to the clients, and he needs to use English, and he needs to improve his English level. And also his age is not a big deal because he still has more than 30 years ahead of him. So this can be a very serious boost to his career. Department was fine, just studied English. That's fine. And if you are not having this, there are other scenarios you can provide. For example, you want to study something in Australia, but you're not sure yet because you are in your 30s. So this might be your most important decision or the last chance of choosing a career, establish a job career objective. So that's why they may say, okay, you may say, okay, I want to have some time to think, but I know that I already know that I need some English skills because it's lacking. No matter what I choose, the study will be challenging without some English preparation. So what I will do is I will enroll a 6 months of study and use this time to look at the schools and talk to my roommates or talk to people, have some research, decide what to study. So after 6 months, you can enroll a different course for your future career. That also can work, and yeah, it's been proven to work. I hope that answers your question. No problem. Let's move to the next page, please. Yeah, that's also something you may consider. I know that we said in the GTE statement, we will come to Australia study. Once we finish study, we'll pack and go home. But that's just this is a very strange thing. But after your study, once you finish the study, department's position is that they don't mind if you can find a PR pathway. They actually award you additional points if you finish the study in Australia. They don't mind, say, because you promised you will depart Australia, you are not eligible for permanent residency application. It doesn't work like that. For example, if you completed the study in commercial cookery, finished the study, and you have done your skill assessment, you can be a very promising candidate for the permanent residency visa. It's definitely something you can do, and that's why it's very important to choose the correct study from the best or suitable place. So you can be benefit from the Austrian study. For example, if you want to become something in the caring or medical industry, you may choose to become an aged care worker or a nurse, or maybe a social worker. So there are many different things you can think of, and I'm sorry, but I'm not able to give you the accurate or necessary information during a webinar. Once again, come to us, and we have many offices. You can just pay us a visit or give us a call, and we can ask for your situation, and we can give you some customized advice. We can tell you, for example, if you want to study this, how long it will take you, how much it will take you, and what your expectations are, and what kind of requirement you have to meet, for example, English requirement or employment requirement, in order for you to get a permanent residency. That's something we definitely can do, and we definitely are doing every day for our clients. Can lead you to a pathway. Yes. So for this further pathway, I put this page here because I just want to say to you that there is no issue for you to finish your study and find a pathway in permanent residency. That's separate from student visa application. And however, you should plan it ahead even before your student visa. You need to know if your study has a pathway or not, or what kind of pathway, what kind of requirements you'll be needing before the pathway can be fulfilled. Next page, please.
So
that's a page for you. So as we mentioned, we need when you apply for student visa, you need to provide health insurance. So I will give the floor to you, and you can explain how the health insurance works and what kind of cost we are expecting.
Yeah. So
Thanks.
with budget policy, we have a you can save up to 47% for family package and 40% for couple package. We also offer free PT course or $50 service vouchers for student single visa, and we can make flexible and convenient online purchase. We cooperate with the reputable providers such as NIP, Bupa, Allianz, and Medibank. So if you're interested in this insurance policy, we can provide you a really discounted package. We also do visa applications with no service cost. So if you're interested in apply your student visa with us, please contact me after this webinar. And next is the Q&A time. So if you have any other questions, you can ask, and Zach and me can help you to resolve them. Or you have any questions? Yeah, so we have one.
Okay, thank you for having us. Do we have any questions? First, thank you so much for having us. This is like the 101 for student visa applications. Once again, student visa is actually a very complicated visa. Yeah, go ahead.
Is this only for student visas? Do you also deal with partner visas?
Yeah, we do with partner visa, but it's off the topic. You can contact me, contact us, and we do partner visas in this company, and we have a very good successful rate. With my 8 years experience, almost 9 years, I have never been refused a partner visa unless it's a relationship breakdown. So it's yes, but feel free to contact us, and we can answer your questions regarding your partner visa. Just to clarify, are we talking about the partner with the Australian citizen or permanent residency or a student visa dependent application?
So, well, the reason why I registered for this one was because I'm thinking that my partner, what's the easiest way for them to come and join me here? Because we wanted to explore whether they can come as a student and then be able to apply. Because for me, I am a permanent resident.
What's your status right now?
Permanent resident.
Okay, so has your partner came to Australia before?
She's right here on a tourist visa, but we're wondering whether that can be converted to either student or
no. You can apply for a student visa, which we can help. But in this circumstance, if you already call her a partner, you may be able to launch the partner visa application straight away and skip the student visa stage. Both have its benefits, but I'm sorry, it's a little bit off the topic. If you leave your phone number, I can give you a call right after this session, and I can explain to you. I prefer not to discuss individual cases during webinar because privacy issues, and also we do have a topic. So if you can just type me or DM me your phone number, I'm happy to have a discussion after this webinar, please.
Okay, I'll send you an email and then we shall take it on from there.
Yes, sounds good. Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions regarding this webinar?
Yeah, so Tonya find it's really hard to satisfy the GTE. So
yeah, that's why you need experts. I'm not just saying you have to come with us, but we are there to help you with the GTE statement. With a trained eye, it's not that difficult, and we process dozens of GTE every week. Not the company. Company probably process 40, 50 GTEs every week. It's not that hard, and we before we start writing a GTE, we need to understand your profile. As I said, sometimes you are worrying for no reason. For you may have a very good case and you just need a half page, or if you have a rather complicated case, you still need to know what to write or what points to address in the GTE. We'll be able to help you.
Yep.
Okay, and 500 visas are so hard. I'm part of your group. But yes, student visa is actually a very, I would say, complicated visa comparing to.
Disconnected again. We join shortly. Hi, Zach.
Sorry, I pressed the wrong button again. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah, as I said, the student visa is actually quite complicated comparing to even some permanent residency. So if you ask me, I have more control, or I'm more confident in predicting the result in partner visa and skilled visas. But student visa is more complicated and more difficult to weather or narrate than those visas. We still have a very good we do have a very good successful rate. For example, for this entire year so far, we haven't been refused onshore application. But this doesn't mean the visa is easy. When you come to start preparation, it may look daunting and confusing, especially when it comes to the GTE statement. That's why we have individual slides just to address this issue. Is DHA getting more stricter with onshore 5? No, not to my experience. I'm sorry, we did have one refusal, onshore refusals quite recently. I misspoke. Our perfect record was just broken. But comparing to the amount of work we do, we still have a very excellent successful rate. So what I want to say is department was very strange during the COVID period. So if you were launching application in late 2020 or 2021, all the applications were pretty much granted without any inquiries. They pretty much just say, you are in Australia, you can't go anywhere, might as well study. So that period was different. Since February last year, when they opened the border, they have rolled back to the previous policy, but it doesn't mean it's getting stricter. It's just reasonable. And if you know what you're doing, and if you have a reasonable profile, you do have a very good chance of getting the student visa granted inside Australia. As I said, there are a few benefits for lodging applications inside Australia. One is you are already here, and two is you can do the research. Three is you have the chance of review the application in the tribunal. So you do have a much better chance. I mean, if you can choose from lodging applications from inside Australia and overseas, you definitely choose from inside Australia. It doesn't get any better than this. Okay, so I'm not saying it's easy. It's still complicated and confusing. It's not difficult. It's my day-to-day job to lodge onshore applications and some offshore applications as well. I encourage you to give us your case, have a chat with us, so we can help you further. Did I miss any other questions?
I think you have answered all the questions. Any questions from Hi?
Much appreciated. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. If you guys don't have any questions, we will wrap up this webinars. And if you have any more questions, you can always email us at this email.
Yeah.
And
by the way,
yeah.
Sorry, we have a last page of our office address and things.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So this is our main address. You can walk in and to these following addresses, and we'll be able to help you. I'm located from Melbourne office, and that's our head office. We have more than 10 agents in this company, registered migration agents in this company, and we are all experienced and capable of helping you. If you want to speak to me, just book for a consultation, and it can be a Zoom meeting, it can be a telephone consultation or face-to-face consultation. You are more than welcome to ask questions. And as I mentioned in the beginning, during this, we are offering free consultation for any student visa holders. And more importantly, we are offering free consultations for anyone with complaints or student visa condition, for example, work conditions or other conditions questions. We are more than happy to help you so you have a smooth experience in Australia. Okay, unless you have other questions, we're going to wrap it up. And I haven't received the email for the partner visa. Yeah, Tony, you are more than welcome. Yeah, if you are not sure what to do, just contact us, and we will pretty much hold your hands through this journey. Yeah, and also for the rather senior applications, we need to have a chat and find out if we have any ways to help you with the application. But in general, although there isn't a age limit, we usually prefer the applicants under 35. If it's between 35 to 40 of years of age, still can do, but there will be a increasing risk as your age number gets bigger. All right. All right. Yeah. I wish you a good evening, and looking forward to hear from you next time. Just contact us. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
See you next
Bye-bye.
time.